In an attic, we meet a recently adopted dog named Chance. A Himalayan cat named Sassy comes in to confront him for disturbing her nap, but the dog doesn't pay her any mind. Outside, a wedding is taking place where we are introduced to 3 children named Peter, Hope, and Jamie, along with a golden retriever named Shadow. Sassy tells Chance to stop chewing on the shirt since it's already ruined, but Chance doesn't listen until he accidentally swallows a button, to which the cat sarcastically remarks that it should have been a zipper instead, causing the insulted dog to chase her around the house. After the scuffle, Chance is seen following a chef at the party and trying to get some food from the plate he's holding. He hits the jackpot when he spots a roast turkey on another table, but Shadow stops him before he can try anything, and warns that he's watching. The dog meets up with Sassy, who mocks him for his failure, and Chance dares her to do better. Taking the challenge head-on, the cat approaches Hope, who feeds her some food, much to Chance's disbelief. The dog vows to get back at her for this, but Sassy doesn't take him seriously. The scene cuts to Peter and Shadow playing basketball together when Bob comes over to discuss the upcoming move to San Francisco. Peter isn't happy about it because he and his siblings will have to leave their pets behind due to the tight conditions in the city, but his stepfather assures him that his work there is only temporary and they will be back as soon as possible, and leaves the two to their devices. Bob announces to the guests that it's time to cut the cake, but to everyone's shock and horror, Chance has gotten to it first. Later on, the kids spend time having fun at the playground. Chance notices Sassy being put on a seesaw and takes the opportunity to get back at her for the earlier taunting. The cat sees him coming, but it's too late as the dog jumps on the top end and sends her flying onto the giant litter box, much to the boys' amusement, while an unimpressed Shadow tells Chance he has a lot to learn. The day of the family's move to San Francisco arrives and they stop at a ranch owned by Laura's friend Kate, who's going to look after the pets until the Seavers return. Chance spends his time exploring the place and playing frisbee with Bob and Jamie. While the dog is busy trying to catch the disc, Jamie wonders if Chance is going to miss him, and his stepfather assures that he will. When it's time to leave, Peter bids Shadow one last farewell and promises he will be back to visit him soon. The golden retriever doesn't know what's happening but obeys his friend's order to stay and watches him leave the ranch. Seeing the Seavers departing, a distraught Chance concludes that he's been abandoned again, while a depressed Shadow rests on the porch, waiting for the day of Peter's return. A few days go by as the 3 pets start adjusting to life on the farm. Chance spends some time meeting other farm animals and harassing the chickens for fun until he encounters a giant turkey named Birdzilla. Terrified, the dog makes a run for it while vowing to never eat turkey again. He then meets up with his comrades who are relaxing on the porch. Upon noticing their saddened looks, Chance tells them their owners are not coming back, and this starts a heated argument between him and Shadow, who refuses to believe Peter, Hope, and Jamie would do such a thing and scolds Chance for thinking so lowly of them. The debate ends when Sassy asks him if he saw how sad Jamie was when he had to leave. Hearing this, the dog begins to rethink his stance on humans. The next day, Kate receives a call from the Seavers, and Peter talks to Shadow to inform him of the bad news. They won't be able to visit for another 2 weeks because of delays, and Shadow simply rolls with it. A week later, Kate is writing some notes for her friend Frank to keep an eye on the pets while she goes winter grazing for her horses. But after she leaves, the first half of the paper gets blown away by the wind. Chance sees her coming and thinks he's going on a car ride, but the gate gets closed instead. Watching her drive away, Chance mentions this has happened before from when his previous owners abandoned him. Sassy dismisses his concerns, but Shadow is also uneasy, noting that their owners have been gone for too long. While Chance accepts that they've been abandoned, Shadow thinks otherwise and decides that it's time to go home. Not wanting the golden retriever to go alone, Sassy decides to join him. Chance bids them farewell, deciding to stay on the farm. Unfortunately, Birdzilla returns to confront him, and being the spineless wimp that he is, the dog changes his mind and joins his friends on their journey through the Sierra Nevada mountains to get back to the Seavers. In a classroom, Peter is seen sketching a picture of Shadow to pass the time. Meanwhile, Frank has arrived to look after the 3 but is unable to find them. He discovers the second half of Kate's message in her workshop and assumes she took the pets with her. The scene cuts to Chance, Shadow, and Sassy making it to a mountaintop and getting a good view of the landscape ahead of them. Seeing how far they are from home, Chance and Sassy question on whether they should go back or not, but Shadow insists they're on the right track. The 3 go on to pass through different areas on their journey before sleeping in for the night, with Chance being on edge for a while. When morning comes, the pets catch breakfast at a river with Sassy doing the fishing. Chance plays with his food until he encounters a pair of black bear cubs who try to take his fish for themselves, causing him to bark at them. Suddenly, the 2 bears retreat and climb up a tree, leading the dog to cockily assume he scared them off. However, he doesn't notice a huge grizzly bear approaching until his friends warn him and the three pets quickly make a run for it. They then come upon another river and Shadow determines they have to swim to get to the other side, and Chance follows his lead. Sassy, however, has no intention of swimming and instead finds a set of rocks to use as stepping stones. But as she reaches the other side using a rotted tree trunk, the trunk collapses, dropping her into the river and sweeping her downriver towards a waterfall. Shadow jumps into the water in a desperate effort to rescue her, but the golden retriever is unable to reach her in time as Sassy gets sent over the waterfall and meets her end. After getting back on land, Shadow and Chance search for Sassy along the banks in hopes that she might resurface, but she is nowhere to be seen. The two continue searching but are forced to give up when night comes. Shadow blames himself for Sassy's death and Chance comforts him, mentioning that Sassy had wanted to go with him. But Shadow replies that he had a responsibility to her, like he has for Peter, and like Chance has for Jamie. Chance points out they never asked for this, and Shadow explains to him that it's just something that comes naturally to them and tells him the story of how their ancestors took it upon themselves to watch over man. After hearing the end of the story, Chance starts to see his friend in a new light. The next morning, the two dogs bid one last farewell to Sassy and resume their journey. In the next scene, a man named Quentin is doing some birdwatching and writing some notes in his book. When he's about to leave, he spots something in the water and picks up what happens to be none other than Sassy, who is very much alive. Without a second thought, Quentin takes her back to his home for treatment. Meanwhile, Chance and Shadow are hunting for some food when they spot a rabbit in the distance. Before Shadow can give the signal, Chance gives chase, running after the prey throughout the forest until it manages to escape in a burrow. The two then try their luck by fishing in a river and Chance gets pinched by a crab, much to Shadow's amusement. Back on the ranch, Kate returns home and is greeted by Frank, who asks if the pets enjoyed the winter graze. It is not long before she realizes the three have run away and contacts the forest rangers, who tell her they will do their best to find the missing pets and contact the other authorities.